Hello everyone. In this quick video, I'd like to just talk about why everyone feels like they're falling apart, or why it not just feels like it's falling apart, it seems like everything is falling apart. And it is related to chronic fatigue and burnout. I'll share that too. It has a lot to do with masculine and feminine energy. Please, I want to just be very clear here. I'm not talking about gender. I'm talking about the archetypal masculine energy and the archetypal feminine energy, which are within all of us, regardless of gender identification. Very quickly, pure, healthy masculine energy is around presence, stillness. It's around having a container, a structure. It's about having direction. Present, healthy, conscious feminine energy is around being embodied. It's about your emotions, being in touch with emotions. It's about community connection, creativity, sexual energy, life force. Okay, we need both of these. What's happened is many of us have tended to embody and manifest and live from distorted masculine energy, which is around excessive structure, pushing, striving, driving, control, top down, and there's a total disconnection from body and from feminine. And this has served society because it serves capitalism and productivity to make profits, being disconnected from nature and being all about output, irrespective of what the body needs. It's not working anymore. Okay, there's been a massive increase in feminine energy on a whole collective consciousness level. And what's so interesting is that COVID really highlighted this because it stopped everything. It was interesting how nature started to reclaim places when we were when we were in isolation. It was interesting how we became more aware of community and others, and many of us had to sit and face ourselves and be with ourselves, connection, in ways that we had not had to do before. And this was very, very hard because most of us are disconnected. So as I've mentioned before, I believe that chronic fatigue and burnout is very, very related to all of this striving, pushing, driving, doing, which is then their coping mechanisms for deeper aspects related to your psychology. I'm not going to go into that today, but suffice it to say that this distorted masculine energy is what has created imbalance and illness in many of us. And what's beautiful about it, as hard as it is that it forces surrender, which is the feminine. It forces stopping. Stopping is actually divine masculine. It's the healthy masculine energy of being present with yourself, being able to see what's not working and what is working, being able to feel this feminine that's wanting to come through you. So it's almost as if the doing and the striving and pushing and driving creates this imbalance, but that imbalance then forces this deep surrender and rest and stopping and reevaluating and reconnecting. And that is where we start to heal from. And that is what's going on a massive consciousness level right now. So for some of us, it's manifesting as illness. But we're seeing these old structures falling away in many ways. Financially, the financial system is in dire straits. We are seeing it in governments. In South Africa, there's so much, in many governments, there's a lot coming up around transparency and people being called to answer for decisions they've made, corruption's being highlighted, there's a war going on. It's all around death of the old masculine, distorted patterns that we have lived by for so long, which are just not serving us anymore. And we are being gently pushed and not so gently pushed into claiming these more feminine and more balanced masculine and healthy masculine and feminine ways of being in life. And what I wanted to say there is that it's not easy. It's really not an easy journey. So a lot of you don't have a choice. I didn't have a choice. I was so burnt out and exhausted. I didn't have a choice but to stop and reevaluate. And in doing so, it was as if I became so much clearer on who I truly am meant to be. It was like my soul was, rattling my cage and saying, this is not serving you anymore. You need to change. And trust me, there were times I wanted to put my head in the sand and just go back to normal, right? But the normal was that distorted, disconnected, masculine way. And it just was not serving me anymore. And I couldn't, the part of me that my true self, this part of me was so wanting to just break through and awaken. And this part of me that was my old self, that was my protecting, was trying to protect me from potentially feeling rejected, abandoned, not good enough. This part of me was holding so tightly, and still does, still there very much, holding so tightly onto avoiding this more awakening path. And what happens is life comes along and you learn through life. Life will hand you opportunities and they're not always good. I had to have some massive decisions and discussions with my husband about whether our marriage was going to work, because I realized that, when we got together, he was in IT and I was a graphic designer, and we drank a lot, we partied all the time. I was not very conscious, and then my father died, and that already, it put me on a different path. And already that path started to move away from him, my husband. And as I started to awaken more and more on my journey, we drifted. And so I got to this point where my choice was, do I stay as I've always been and stay in a marriage that's always been this way, where I'm not being true to myself, or do I have to make a really difficult choice? And we've had discussions where he's agreed to walk the path with me, and it hasn't been easy, because sometimes he's going his way and I'm going my way, and I need to be with my truth, which might mean that I just can't do it, and we have to keep reevaluating that. I've had to look at how I work, I've had to look at how I parent, I've had to look at where I live. I have had to literally dismantle massive areas of my life, because life was just saying it is time. Because all those things that no longer serve you are going to start to fall apart. They're going to start to fall away. And the more that we resist this, the more exhausted we become. The more that we start to allow this unfolding and trust it, the more we can heal and step into the fullness of ourselves, which is claiming that full feminine abundance of life that is available to all of us. And with that comes life force, energy. And now I can feel it so clearly. As soon as I go into resistance and shut down and contraction, I'm exhausted. I don't sleep well. I feel overwhelmed. I feel powerless. My nervous system is on fire. It's just so wired. And then when I use my tools, I reach out for support, I surrender into what is happening, I feel that trust in life, which has taken a lot of work. I can almost feel as if this path opens up within me and I receive energy, I receive life force. I'm so much more energized and awakened and joyful, and things just come and flow, and it's easy. And so what I'm essentially talking about here is also spirituality, in a sense. It's about trusting something greater than yourself. It's about trusting a path that is beyond you and your own self-reliance to make your life happen and be okay, etc., which is what you've done for a very long time and probably been very good at it. It's just unfortunately exhausted you and it's no longer working. So I just wanted to share that today, this really important piece about the awakening of the feminine, and how none of us are immune from this. It's really happening on a collective level in a huge way. It's part of why time is speeding up so much. There's big changes happening energetically, consciously, on a consciousness level, and it's going to impact the physical body. It's going to impact your energy. It's going to impact your emotions. It's going to impact your physical body, and it's very useful to find someone who can guide you through this with a better understanding of what is happening and how it's impacting you specifically. So yeah, I'm going to be sharing more around this for those who are interested, if it resonates. And yeah, just let me know. Email me if you've got questions on. Email me if this resonates with you, or if you think it's absolutely rubbish, email me as well. Because sometimes when there's a lot of resistance against something, that's because it does resonate, but it causes a huge amount of fear. So I just wish you all the best, and I just want you to take away this one thing from this, is that this is an opportunity. Okay, it's an opportunity. There is a gift in this for you, and you are not alone, and you have the capacity to transform in the most beautiful, profound way. I truly believe this. I've seen it over and over again with my clients. I've experienced it in my life. So I want you to know that. All right. Take care, everyone. And I will be back in this space soon. Okay.